Today, we will be learning how to use phrasal verbs in order to be successful. Our first topic is leaving abruptly, so let's get started. After something has gone wrong, it is important to rectify the situation. The expression making up for is used to denote this idea. An action to make up the loss could involve supplying something of an equivalent value. When it comes to people, it usually refers to apologizing and restoring the relationship after a certain disagreement or argument. Furthermore, making up can also be used to refer to recovering the time wasted due to a delay. In this context, it is used to indicate trying to catch up or making up the gap. Phrasal verbs presented in the previous slide can be beneficial in many contexts, particularly when undertaking a daunting task. The epta implies the capacity or intent to carry out an action. In a similar way, take in alludes to grasping or comprehension of a subject. Finally, make out signifies to execute something by intense effort. Therefore, when you have to abruptly depart, you can be confident you will have the capability to do so. Phrasal verbs are an integral part of English language. We will now examine 3 phrasal verbs. Take up on, take through and take in. To take up on something is to accept and agree to do it. For example, if a colleague asks you to help him move, you could take up on their offer and agree to help them. To take through means to elucidate something exhaustively, which can include performing it. Lastly, take in means to grasp or comprehend. Thus, if you take through an explanation, you would then want your students or peers to take in what you said. Examining 3 phrasal verbs, we initially looked at look for, search, which could be used to describe an action of seeking something. An example of this is, I'm looking for something to do. Next, we examined be after, which could be used to describe someone's intentions, for example, he's after something. Finally, we looked at take out, which could be used to describe the removal of something from a location. An example of this is, I took out the books from the shelf. To summarize, we looked at the phrasal verbs. Look for, search, be after, and take out. Phrasal verbs are an excellent way of expressing your ideas concisely and accurately. We will be focusing on 3 verbs. Take off, be on, and do over. All 3 can be used to convey similar meanings when it comes to family members. For instance, take after is used to describe someone resembling or acting like a family member. Make after suggests following in a family member's footsteps, and do after expresses the idea of imitating or carrying on the tradition of a family member. Best of luck with your studies. Phrasal verb, take out, refers to an invitation to a date, typically to have a meal. Make up on can mean to make amends or settle differences after an argument. Be out of implies being too late to do something or having exhausted the available supply of something. No longer having something can be expressed in several ways, such as being out of it, doing away with it, or taking out of it. These phrasal verbs are useful for conveying the idea of no longer having something. Phrasal verbs are often necessary to express ourselves clearly and concisely. We'll examine 3 specific verbs. Leave the place suddenly, take off, and do over. These phrasal verbs can be employed in various situations. For example, leave the place suddenly could be applicable when you must vacate rapidly. Take off could mean to begin to ascend suddenly or to set off on a journey. Lastly, do over implies to repeat or start something from the beginning. Utilizing phrasal verbs in our daily language can help us communicate more clearly. Be sure to consider carefully the definition of each verb and its application in your sentence. We've now reached the final topic of our presentation, the phrasal verbs for success related to leaving a place suddenly. We have 3. Take off, be on, do over. Taking off quickly shows that there is urgency, often associated with safety. Being on and do over are all related to the idea of a second chance, a restart. Use these and all the other phrasal verbs we've gone through today to make your language more dynamic and successful. Thank you for your attention.